drills and body position drills that we'd like to do. Maybe before we do the vice tackle, maybe we see on film that this is something we need to work on, our footwork in our approach to make the tackle. Okay, and we use a technique called the gather step. Okay, and it's very simple. It's like a lot of the other things we do, um, and it's working on an angle tackle instead of a lot of times when we do breakdowns, working straight ahead on a player on a running back. This is our footwork when we're working on an angle. This is the footwork we use, the gather step. This is how we set it up. We just set up no more than 4 cones, okay? And we work our gather step, the same footwork we use in our vice tackle. It's just we gather to the cones, okay? Nice and low. We don't rush it, okay? We're nice and low. This is a good job here. Boom, we're right there, and then we rip through the end. But this is good, quick footwork. Good. That's a good job right there. Okay, I think that's a little bit rushing it. We're getting a little bit too high. Okay, for this player, I would just say, hey, get lower, slow it down a little bit. Just work on your gather, work that front foot. We work our front foot and our back foot. Our back toes should go to our front heel. Okay, if that makes sense. Take a look. Boom, and then we're ripping through. Here's a big D lineman going through this. He does a good job of getting his feet quick and moving. Here's another good job, staying nice and low. Boom, firing through. Okay, here's our sprint and gather drill. Okay, just a variation of this drill. Okay, this can be a progression that you use. You can go from our gather step to our sprint gather. I'll show this one's set up. Okay, we work with a 5 to 6 yard sprint on an angle. And we're pretending like that ball carrier with the OB on his shirt right there is running to his right, our left. Okay, and we're working on getting to his back hip. And we'll talk about why we get to the back hip and not try to get our head across so much. Okay. Okay, we get to the first cone that's 6 yards away, and then we work our gather step to his back hip. We work and we fly through and we rip through his back hip. Boom, we break down that feet. Good gather. Boom, we're right through. Nice and low, gather, and we're ripping through. That's a good one right there. We rip right through. That's a great job there. Okay, our next progression now from this is our pace drill. Here's how we line up our pace drill. We have an offense and a defensive player, and they're 6 to 8 yards apart. Okay, we can do it at about 5 yards apart as well. On the offensive side, we can line up 4 or 5 cones, 5 yards apart. Okay, these are going to be landmarks for the offensive player to break down his feet. Okay, and when we say break down, it's like a running back running to the sideline, but he gives you a stutter step. Okay, because this drill we're working on staying on the back hip of the running back or the offensive player with the ball. Okay. And this is how the drill is going to be run. Okay, the offensive player is going to be at an 80% sprint until he does his little shake, his breakdown. His shoulders will be pointing in the direction of the sidelines, okay, in the direction he's running. Our defensive player his shoulders will always be facing the offensive player. Okay, he's never going to completely turn his back to his own sideline. Okay, he may run with his legs running in the direction of the ball carrier, but he's never going to completely turn his shoulders. And the reason why we don't have him completely turn his shoulders is that's when we see offensive players cut back, and it's very hard for us to go from a complete facing the sidelines in one direction and turn and make a play facing the other sidelines. Okay, so what it's going to look like is a sprint and a gather, a sprint and a gather, and then we're running right to that man's back hip and tagging off. Okay, coaching points, we say back hip. That means don't get out in front of the ball carrier. Another coaching point, square shoulders, like we just talked about. Keep those shoulders square. Don't let that man turn your shoulders. Another huge coaching point is gain ground. Okay, this drill, he doesn't have to work completely on a straight line across from him. As this picture shows, we're going to be getting closer and closer and closer to him. We might get to him by the second cone. Okay, that's fine. We want to gain ground on this guy. Okay, so gain ground, attack. And the last one is tag off with palms up. Okay, we don't want to tag off with our palms down because that doesn't emphasize ripping up through this man. Okay, always want to tag off with low body, low hips, around that hip. Okay, let's take a look at this drill, full speed. Okay, sorry you can't see the ball carrier here to start, but he's just starting in a nice, basically a wide receiver stance, facing that first cone. It's a good gather step. Boom, he's right to him, tags him off on that hip. We can even run through that back hip. Here's a good job. Okay, this guy, the ball carrier he rushed a little bit. Okay, we can tell our guys that are running the ball. This drill is for the defense. Okay, he doesn't need to be running so fast and not doing the drill properly that we can't do the drill properly on defense. So, but if he runs full speed, okay, and he never breaks down his feet, our defensive players should never break down their feet and gather. We should just be sprinting to that back hip. Okay, here's number 43 going through this. He does a good job gaining ground and getting to the man. That's a good job. Okay, now number 44 here. This is something that, okay, his shoulders are completely turned. If number 6 put his foot in the ground and turned back, that'd be an awfully hard play for him to make. Okay, if number 6 is way far out ahead of him, okay, that's understandable. We can turn our shoulders and run, but he's looking back on the man right now, and his shoulders are turned way too far. Okay, but he still gets to his hip. Next play. Okay, same thing here. A little bit too turned with the shoulders. I know this guy's sprinting pretty hard. Okay, he's got to break down and do the drill correctly. It's a good job by our defensive lineman. I like him to not just stick out one hand and tag him on the butt, but bring his body down and make it look good. Here's a good job by number 6, just gaining ground and getting right to him, right that back hip. Here's another look at it. Some professionals working to that back hip, nice gather step, get into that back hip, get to the back hip. So what's it look like in a game time situation? Okay, we have a few examples here. Here's a good one, number 6 here, or number 25 here, breaking his feet down, staying on the back hip, boom, and cleaning up a mess. Okay, that's a good job right here. Here we see number 6 at the middle linebacker spot. Okay, this guy out leverages him, so he has to get to his back hip. We'll slow it down. Boom. He gets to his back hip and runs through the man. Okay, that's a good job of not letting him get an inside break on him. Boom, and he finishes the play. That's a good job right there. Here's a look at a defensive back making a play in the open field here. Okay, he gathers his feet, doesn't give him the inside. Okay, he says, hey, you go outside. My leverage is the inside. The outside player in this situation is the sidelines. Okay, he makes him go to the sidelines. Boom, comes up and makes a great tackle. That's a good job, right? Gator tackle.